Hello, everyone. Welcome to Doing Life Together, episode 71. It is Sonia Eckel, your host, and it is good to be here with you all. So, a little exciting news update from the Eckel Ranch. Yesterday, we adopted 4 new little ranch kitties. So, watch my Instagram. We'll get a video up of those. And so we are adopting them again through the Working Cats program in New Braunfels. And what I love about this program is it's kitties who are a little too not humanized, not friendly enough to be maybe adopted for in-home. Like they end up in traps and whatever and get brought into the Humane Society. But they are outdoor kitties. And so actually I have found that it's kind of challenging to just adopt outdoor kitties, but they've got it pretty cush here at the ranch. So they get their canned food and there's kind of spoiled rotten. But anyway, we welcomed 4 more and we are so excited. Their names are Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, and the 4th one, and those were their names, the Humane Society named them that. And we thought they were pretty cute. And then the 4th one was another bunch. And so I was talking to my 2 oldest boys who are home on spring break and like, what should we name her? And they're like, well, we need something that's sort of tied in. So she is named Lola, which I had to Google who Bugs Bunny's girlfriend was, but I guess it's Lola Bunny. So I'm just calling her Princess Lola. But anyway, super excited to have kitties. I spent so much of my growing up years on the farm outdoors because, as you guys know, we didn't have a TV. And of course, that was before the days of computers and whatnot. And so I spent a lot of my childhood either with my nose in a book, so I read a lot, or outside with my animals. I spent hours upon hours upon hours outside with animals. And so I just have this, heart for fur babies. So I'm very excited. All right. So welcome to Doing Life Together. And as I was thinking about tonight's episode, one of the things as a coach and mentor for a lot of people who build a business that I have found so powerful in building a successful business is to take the time to decide what is it you actually want your life to look like. Now, I've talked about this before because I just think it's so important. I feel like as humans, we often get on what I call the hamster wheel of life, and it always feels like we're just reacting to the latest bill that came in the mail, the unexpected dishwasher goes out. Like we're in reaction mode and we know what we don't want. And we just get so busy, just kind of, what is that? Whack-a-mole. I always want to say like guacamole, but whack-a-moles, like that's how I think a lot of humans go through life. Is something pops up and you hit it with a hammer, and then you're looking for the next thing and you hit it with a hammer. And it's just this putting out fires all the time. And most of us have spent portions of our life doing that, right? Myself included. And so I just wanted to give us space today to maybe ask and put in the comments, if you didn't have to worry about exactly how it would happen, what would your life ideally look like? Because so many times we won't even allow ourselves to go there. We won't allow ourselves to dream. We won't because we're like, that's not ever going to happen. That's not practical. How would that ever be? And we just talk ourselves right out of even giving it any space. But I really believe that God has a calling on your life and on my life. And it's there for a reason. And yeah, it might feel kind of pie in the sky. It might feel really super stretchy. But again, as a coach and mentor, if I can help someone actually get clarity on what it is they really want their life to look like, not what they'll settle for, not what they think they should be content with. And you all know that I am a believer in Jesus. And as a Christian woman, I have found that so many, particularly Christian women, but in all fairness, I work with more women than men. So maybe it's equally so in men who are Christians. But I find that this conversation actually triggers a lot of Christians. And so I've had the privilege to get underneath that and kind of dig and go, why is that kind of triggering? And what I found in working with a lot of specifically business owners, but it pops up in those who don't have business as well. I mean, it pops up as an employee. I mean, it'll show up everywhere in your life. But the idea is that as a believer, this idea of contentedness. If I say I want more, it means I'm not content. It means that I'm greedy. Like we make up all these stories about that. And it might not even be your story. In fact, a lot of times it was something that got sort of handed down with the good from someone who loved you very much and wanted you just to be happy with what you have. Like, can't you just be grateful for what you have? And as a parent, have I been guilty of that? Yeah, to my sons, I'm sorry, right? Like, I'm sure that I have absolutely done that same thing because as parents, we're busy providing, we're busy on our own little hamster wheel. And so that's how these things get passed along is just, aren't you grateful for what you have? Like, why is it you always need to want more? So it's really drilled into us that to want more is either selfish or greedy or ungrateful. And it takes a little emotional unpacking to back up the dump truck and unload some of those belief systems that we were handed when we were probably pretty young and reassess them. So I have had the opportunity to do this in my own life, which is why I think I recognize it where it's a space to grow with others. And if you haven't yet gotten a copy of my book, you can get it on Amazon, Walking in His Promises by Sonia Eccles. So it should pop up. Or you can actually get a free copy and you just cover the shipping. I'll send it to you. And that you can find at thedetoxgirl.com. So detoxgirl.com, which is where you can find all sorts of, like, you can find where to follow me on Instagram, YouTube, how to get some great free gifts from me, whatever. But along that line is my book, the hard copy. And it's so much about resetting our financial mindset, especially those of us who have been raised under an extremely religious slant. Because in all fairness, I don't think this is exclusive to Christianity. I think it pops up in other religions as well. This idea that we should just be content with what we have. And if we aren't, then somehow that's a problem. And it makes us not as good of a person, all the things. So anyway, so I definitely recommend you grab a copy of my book and hopefully read it, and would love for you to share, like, as you go through it, what breakthroughs you have. It's really just written from my own personal journey through having to reset a money mindset as a business owner. Because as a business owner, you need to grow before your business can grow, right? So your business can only grow as much as you are willing to grow, essentially. And if you have the money scarcity, the poverty mindset, that it's not good to want more, I'm not grateful, whatever those underlying belief systems are, until we get to actually deal with those and move them along and replace them with God's truth, it's really hard to grow a business. Like, even if you are working your fingers to the bone, as they would say, like, you're working so hard, you're doing all the things right, and you're like, why can't I get ahead? And so often it's because we have some pretty major core beliefs, and our subconscious mind is so powerful, right? Like, it's like the world's most amazing computer. And so even though consciously we're like, I don't have any of that stuff, that's not it. Your subconscious mind has logged everything that you've been told, even when you were young, and it's trying its very best to align with your belief systems and help you have those kind of results. So, anyway, so what is it you really want? Not what you don't want. Like, I think, again, I talk about this, but we all know what we don't want our spouse to do. Like, oh my goodness, wish they wouldn't be like this or do such and such, or our children or our boss, or whatever the case may be, whatever other human being. Or we know what we don't want, like, I don't want this debt anymore. But do you know what it is you actually do want? And will you be honest with yourself to spend some time? So my invite to you today is something that I've personally used for myself to help me get on the other side of some of those same belief systems, and quite frankly, misuse of the scriptures, in my opinion, in many cases. But that's not everyone shares that thing. But so, by the way, in my book, it is absolutely loaded with biblical scriptures, and way more than I ever. Well, first of all, I didn't think I was going to write the book that I wrote. So the whole thing is kind of like a crazy experience. It was an incredibly spiritual experience for me, because it literally felt like I was supposed to sit down and write this book. And then as I wrote it, I continued to feel the Holy Spirit saying, okay, put this in. Like, it was just this journey. And it was something, actually. It was very intense. I wouldn't have thought that about writing a book. But anyway, so lots and lots of scripture in the book. And I feel like that's his hand, that he wants his word to be taken for what it is. And yeah. Anyway, okay. So what I like to do to get past the resistance on actually dreaming a little bit and thinking about what is it you really do want is I like to just write at the top of a piece of paper, wouldn't it be so amazing if? Okay, this is like you're in fun energy. You're not worrying about how, you're being like a kid before you were told it was so awful to want things, and oh, you shouldn't want things, you're not grateful, whatever story you might have been told. Before that, you would have naturally been, depending on how young that set in, but most kids are pretty good dreamers. And then adults in their life and people in their lives, siblings, whatever, in all the best intentions. I think it is for protection. Like, I believe it's like, I want to protect them from ever being let down. So I'm going to tell them, be happy with what you've got, don't want more. I think it is mostly out of the idea of protecting. But anyway, so as a kid though, like, I dreamt a lot. I remember, and this is going to totally date me, but I remember that we would get these big old catalogs, and it was my younger years, not so much my teen years. I think it had kind of phased out by then. Those massive, I don't know if they were Sears or whatever, but they were just huge. And as a little girl, oh my goodness, I would spend hours going through that and, bending over the pages and just dreaming about whatever it was that was in those, And so dreaming as a kid sometimes comes easy, but at some point we are often told, like, hey, enough of that now. You got to grow up. So wouldn't it be so fun if that's another way to do it, but put it at the top of a paper and just start writing. Just start writing with no judgment, none of that. Well, I'm just really blessed now, and I'm blessed and highly favored, and there's really nothing else that I could need. Like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, I completely feel abundantly blessed, and God has been beyond good and so abundant. And I still give myself permission to think about the next, wouldn't it be amazing? And quite frankly, every day I wake up, I just praise the Lord. I'm literally like, oh my goodness, He's so, so good. And I feel like every day I get to live a dream. Like it's beautiful. I'm so grateful. And I continue to leave space for but wouldn't it be so fun if, wouldn't it be amazing if? Does that mean I'm miserable because I'm so busy? Wouldn't it be amazing if? Not at all. Like I love life. I really, really do. And I think dreaming and thinking like, wouldn't it be so fun if? Because once you get clarity on what you really do want, the how starts to present itself. And I've just found it again and again and again. And, I could give you so many examples of this. Just that space of, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be so cool if, and then next thing you know, like the how starts coming and all of a sudden, wow. I'm not saying it always happens like that, but I've been really blown away by how often that has happened just by giving it space. So be sure to grab a copy of my book. If you are not in the US, the free book offer will kick back and I'll refund you the shipping just because I don't ship outside of the US for the free book, just because shipping has gotten so insanely expensive. But I think most countries have access to Amazon, so you should be able to get it there. I think it's also on Barnes & Noble and some of the other ones. So you can pick it up elsewhere. But I think it's so insanely powerful. And it is really my journey of understanding what God really has to say to you. And so anyway, would love to hear your feedback. If you've gotten the book, you've read it. Hopefully you've done, it's like a little bit of workbook style, not too much, but there's some things in there that I'm like, really, no, do them. Like really write in the book, do what you got to do, because it'll help you work through some really cool stuff. Anyway, all right. Well, good to see you all. What is it you really want? Write it down. If you want to message me what you really want, just to speak it out to someone or tell it to someone you trust. Now, don't put your dreams in front of someone who dreams make them very uncomfortable. There are some people who are extremely effective at dream squashing. Okay. And when we're stressed out, like probably all of us have at some point to some degree found ourselves a dream squasher, right? Like that's not a indictment toward anybody. I'm just saying, the people in your life who you share something and they're going to celebrate with you and they're going to cheer you on. And you also know some people in your life who that's not going to be what they do. They're going to give you all the reasons that's not a good idea, why it's not going to work and stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to those people about it. And just, if you're going to move forward, yeah, it's good to think about all aspects. But I just find that doubt and that negativity, in my business, in life, I don't find that it has brought a lot of joy or results that go in the positive ways. So find people in your life who can hold your vision with you, who can celebrate it with you, and who can be part of the journey to help equip you to get where it is that you're called to go. All right. Well, everyone have a beautiful evening and would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow, subscribe, comment, all the things. It makes so much more fun when I actually get to hear from y'all. So, okay, God bless you, my friends. We'll see you next week.